Many North American firms do business here. In modern stores, you can buy things imported from the United States.
What were the predominant forces that were alive during the imperial era?
We had the industrial age going on and the beginning of large corporations. The saying was that business follows the flags, but actually it was the flag that follows the business. And this gave way to corporate America.
It sort of paves the way for how future generations of presidents or big businessmen do their business.
And I see a three-part pattern. In almost every case, the intervention begins when the government of country X starts to bother or harass or regulate or tax or nationalize or somehow otherwise interfere with some big foreign corporation, usually an American company.
And what that really meant from the US point of view was how do we ensure access to natural resources and raw wealth in Latin America for US companies.
It all starts, in most cases, with some kind of an economic conflict, with an American business that feels it's not being treated fairly by a foreign government.
The first overthrow of America, what took place in Hawaii. Missionaries went there to spread religion, and they found out that they could profit from sugar, and they started business corporations. And when Hawaii wanted to get involved with their profits, that's when they decided to overthrow this country.
Then, inside the American foreign policy process, inside the White House, if you will, the motivation for the intervention changes. In fact, the US does not overthrow foreign governments or intervene in foreign countries simply to protect the interests of American corporations. What happens is, we convince ourselves, or our leaders convince themselves, or allow themselves to be convinced, that the government in that country is a security threat to us. That makes the intervention not an economic matter, but a political or a geostrategic imperative.
We had regime changes where during this period?
We had regime changes in Hawaii, in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines.
It's important to note that in many of these nations, there was massive genocide. 600,000 Philippines dying and tens of thousands of Cubans dying.
We start to see a history of genocide to a large degree. And starting with the Philippines, there were some, in the imperial era, there were some bloodless overtakes, but what we're starting to see now is blood is being shed.
I think one of the reasons that the United States and American people are so willing to send our troops off to war and to foment conflict is that we've never had a war on our soil in the living memory of any American. The overwhelming majority of Americans have no idea from firsthand experience what war really is. We can't grasp the enormity of the tragedy that war brings.
And America is known for democracy and human rights, and that's the last thing they thought of during these overthrows.
Let me ask you a question. How many people were a little bit bothered by what you read in chapter 1? Okay. This was actually one of the cleaner versions, by the way. The rest get a little bloodier.
The purpose of these missions is twofold: to Christianize the Indian and to extend the frontier of the Spanish dominion.
There has been all kind of evil done under the name of Christianity.
Even from the beginnings of our country, we felt that we were exceptionally blessed by God and that we have found a key. We found the magic formula that brings prosperity and stability to countries.
Religion, and I am not a religious person at all whatsoever, but religion has played a significant role throughout history, before the United States and during the United States, and maybe it will be here after the United States.
I think Americans truly believe that we have been something like a chosen people. Like Herman Melville used the phrase, the Israel of our age.
The prevalent religion in Latin America, it's a religion of submission. We went through 300 years of slavery, colonization, and then we went through another 100 and something years of empires, which were, of course, linked to the churches. Deliver yourself in the hands of God, because God will provide, and God will solve you, and God will save your soul. And the important thing is your soul, not your body. So your body may be massacred by some foreign army, of course, and you don't have to worry about that, because your soul is going to be saved after all.
But I think there's another aspect of our religious belief that also plays into our willingness to carry out these interventions so often. Our religious tradition, in most of its manifestations, teaches us that there's absolute good and absolute evil in the world.
This nation under God, that phrase and others like it, set the standard of our concept of man. As a creature of God, man is a being with dignity and conscience, with the ability to determine right from wrong.
The opposing point of view in this conflict rests on a fundamentally different vision of man. As a creature not of God, but of the state. In this system, the value of individual man diminishes sharply.
The media is the one that puts the fear in Americans.
So the perceived threat concept works very well, right? It works very well because it attaches a moral component to the fighting that we do, and that way more people are willing to support it.
That makes it very easy for our leaders to mobilize support for American foreign wars and interventions by saying we're sacrificing ourselves in order to help poor suffering people over there.
I would like now to turn to the audience for questions regarding the imperial era. Please come and join us at the microphones.
Hello, my name is Simone Bryan. I'm from Daly College, and I want to ask, at this point in the book, the media is in full effect, is growing, and even from the 1950s to now, how does the U.S. government use the media to portray images of fear to justify overthrowing a country?
Kyle?
That's the dominant message that you'll see, is that these are dictators, these are bad people. If we don't get them out of power, then it's going to rear its ugly head throughout society. So that's the main message that you'll see.
They'd be better than any enemy. Their weapons would be stronger because all the ingenuity and mechanical skill of our whole great nation would be behind them.
What was the role of propaganda during this period?
The press viewed Hawaiians as animalistic people, a society that was very corrupt, a society that was going to end up going to hell if Americans did not go and spread democracy and spread religion. They thought that these people would not be able to be a proper civilization. They would not be able to take care of themselves unless they were ruled by Americans.
In Cuba, the American public actually was, they saw the Cuban rebels as like our founding fathers, our rebellion. It was that free Cuba, that's great, we're there to help them. And only then, when the media played it up, and lied that they were lazy, they were disorganized, and they were cowards.
The media has enormous power, and I think they should have a responsibility to the actual population rather than the corporate sponsors.
The media is profit-driven.
Media is a business.
We have to realize the media is not a free service to people to enlighten them. The media is trying, for the most part, to make money.